Hello, hello, it's me, the Metaverse Explorer. I try my best to keep you updated on what's happening in the RFOX ecosystem. They have lots of different venture arms, so sometimes it's hard to keep updated. We look at the RFOX Finance, RFOX Vault, and even the game section with Fadsley. They recently are about to release their second game. The first one, of course, is Cogslam. So recently for the Vault, Benny took over as the head, and we've been able to snag a one-on-one interview with Benny. The topic of the conversation was basically RFOX NFTs and what they have to do with the Vault. Without further ado, I want to get to it. Thanks for watching. Hello guys, it's me, the Metaverse Explorer. I told you we have an interview with Benny himself. He's now leading the Vault. So, Benny, how are you going? Thanks for joining us.
I'm doing very well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure, my pleasure. So we're actually going to be talking about a few things today. So we're going to be mainly focusing on RFOX NFTs and what that has to do with the Vault, really. I know you've now taken over the Vault. How's that transition been going so far? Has it been okay?
Yeah, it's I think that the Vault's basically I think of it like a power board and everything plugs into it. So as we're getting closer to dropping more and more products, it's important that becomes the center of what we're doing. So therefore it requires the most attention and the most focus. And therefore I've jumped in and taken that over.
Awesome, awesome. Well, seeing as you've done a great job with the rest of the ecosystem, I'm very happy to have seen you taking the spot in the Vault. I want to pose a question to you. So Benny, the metaverse, we've all heard the metaverse, right? For me, and I listen to you in AMAs as well, it's super, super overused. I want to get your sense. What is your idea? I've got my own sense, right? I've got my own characteristics of what I would say a metaverse is. I want to hear what your idea of a metaverse is. Is that what RFOX is building with the different venture arms? What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's just basically, it's all encompassing of Web 3.0, but basically it should be an interoperable platform that heavily features VR.
Yep.
That's a prerequisite.
Yep.
But ultimately it has to be interoperable and interconnected.
Awesome.
So the thing is that many, like you say, it's bandied around a lot. The word metaverse, it's a buzzword. But if you're a gaming platform or you're on one chain or you're a closed ecosystem, then you don't really fit the definition. But I think that there'll be a lot of companies trying to challenge what that definition is and paving that way, because in the beginning, the internet definition was very limited as well. And it's expanded a lot as more and more people have sort of built using the internet.
Look where we are now. Like, people didn't believe in the internet ages ago, and look where we are. Hopefully that's what Web3 can do and the metaverse can do. Now, you said something very specific there, virtual reality. What are your thoughts about augmented reality? Would that count as in your metaverse as well?
Yeah, for sure. I think any type of cutting edge technology will be used. As far as like AI is going to feature very heavily in the metaverse arena, full stop, across all the different metaverses. And I think that AR and VR go hand in hand a lot these days as well.
Yep.
And VR, to be honest, we're probably years away from sort of getting to the mass adoption.
The mainstream,
yeah. People still get dizzy. They have trouble acclimatizing. You've got a large group of people that are saying that for the metaverse to be successful, you have to paint the picture of a dystopian world that everyone's trying to escape from. So they still don't really understand what it is. So
yeah.
I think we're a long way away from mass adoption.
I would agree there as well. I see what Meta's trying to do, Meta, the Facebook company, and I agree. Like, it will take some years until we actually get there. But Benny, thank you very much for your definition of what the metaverse is. It kind of aligns with a lot of what I feel as well. So I'm glad to see that we're like in the same vein. I want to go on to RFOX and RFOX NFTs and what the Vault is. So can you give us a simple idea? What are generally RFOX NFTs? And then after that, what is the Vault? We've talked about it a little bit, but a more defining explanation, please.
Yeah, so the RFOX NFTs is basically, the quick story is that we saw the need for a Shopify for NFTs. We had a lot of businesses coming to us and saying, we don't know what to do. We don't know how to do it. Can you do it for us? Can you help us do it? Can you design the tokenomics? Can you mint the NFTs? Can you create a marketplace? Can you help us with the style? And we turned around and said, this is going to happen continually. Dapper Labs had obviously Flow with the NBA Top Shots. And we saw all of these big projects coming and saying, these big brands saying, we want to break in to the market. And they were waiting in a queue. And we turned around and said, this is just going to keep continually sucking our time and energy because
Yep.
we're trying to build out an ecosystem with what was a very small team back then. And we said, we just can't afford the time to walk these people through, hold their hand. You're giving away a lot of expertise and you're giving away time, effort,
Resources.
very little reward. Yeah. So we turned around and said, we have to come up with a platform, but there's already heaps of tools out there that allow you to spin up a contract. So let's make it a factory so that you can actually do all the degen plays and make sure that you can do Dutch auctions and the different types of allocations of NFTs. But let's also make it truly interoperable in the theme of the metaverse and make it that you can use any chain. So we've started with Ethereum.
Went to BSC.
So any of the EVM compatible, so layer 2s.
Yep.
We'll also look at Wax. We've got anything you can think of really. You'll be able to go into Dot, Solana, all of these big plays that are currently on the table at the moment. But so that's the first part.
Yep.
Second part is we use a headless CMS, and you can actually drag and drop assets. So you can take the assets behind me, drag and drop, and build your own website similar to WordPress. So therefore, you've got a standalone site. People said, why do you need it when you've got OpenSea? But Reebok and the big brands don't want to be just a drop-down box.
Yeah, just one item in someone else's big ecosystem. They want to have their own website, right? Their own front page.
Yeah, and you get a lot of people doing scam copycats as well, and people can't tell the difference. So they want their own site. And then the other thing is they don't want to lose the benefit of the liquidity of being on something like an OpenSea. So what we said is if you spun up on Ethereum, you'd have your own site, you'd have your own contracts, from an audited contract factory, and then you'd automatically, when you list on your marketplace, you would automatically get listed on OpenSea as well, so you wouldn't lose the benefit of having that access to that liquidity, so you get a double listing. So that was what RFOX NFTs started out as and is.
Yep.
And now we're working on handing out grants for people to be able to sort of launch their collections with us, because we want to handhold the first few that come through to make sure that they're comfortable with it, there's no bugs, and that we're in a situation where we know, okay, this is battle tested now we can go out to mass market.
Oh, great, man. It sounds like you guys are right on it. You did say something about the RFOX grants, and I've got a question there to follow up later on, but for now I want to lead into my second question, which is slightly related. So we know NFTs give us a lot of the ability to unlock a lot of potential. Like for me, it's like thinking about opening a car door because I have this NFT. All of this sort of great stuff in Web3, so that we can easily communicate and engage with each other. To some people, though, it's kind of like a fad or a bubble, right? They don't see the value proposition of NFTs. And I guess since you guys are really going deep into RFOX NFTs, which you just explained, what are you guys actually doing to help bring the message across to these people that NFTs are a very powerful tool and not just like collections of JPEGs? So for example, I know you guys have been doing white listings for Minty, right?
Yeah, so if you look at, for example, pictures, and you talk about JPEGs, if you look at art, there's so many more things that you can actually sell, and the NFTs then become like a receipt.
Yep.
So NFTs can act as a proof of ownership. It can act as a transfer of IP. It can be content. People are even looking at blueprinting the idea for how to start businesses and to build a business model, but they don't have the funds or the means to be able to execute it, and they could sell the IP of the idea of like business in a box.
Right, you can sell the actual idea, or you can use it to crowdsource funds if you need to, which is probably a security, I would say.
Sure, and then you could also, for example, we've talked to people here in this region that have said, buy apartment complexes that, because foreigners can only buy 40% of the apartment complex. So start up a Vietnamese company, buy 100% of the complex, and then issue NFTs as a fractional ownership of an actual apartment, and then you've got a liquid way of getting in and out of the property market without actually having the being locked into
the legal stuff to do with it.
Exactly. So it can be IP, it can be content, it can be pictures, it can be anything you like. Basically, anything that currently comes with a receipt or proof of ownership, that's what you can do. And as I've said for a long time, Kanye West could bring out a new range of clothes. We could make it a digital version, stock a virtual shop full of it, and then he could sell the NFT that contains those NFT items inside, and then I become a licensed distributor.
Oh, awesome.
So there's so many different ways that you can package the IP transfer and proof of ownership, and people are very narrow in their view so far because it's all they've seen. And again, if we go back to the dot-com boom, internet was for sending emails.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so
Early
the
days.
thing is, exactly, it's progressing, and we've got like around 1 million people that are actively trading NFTs. We are in the infant stages and the early days of the whole NFT world. Hasn't even taken off yet.
Yeah, I would agree. I feel like we're actually in the Precambrian like explosion phase where everyone's going out trying to explore these different ways to use NFTs in the ecosystem. And you can't, and then most of them fail, to be honest, but some of them come back with really great ideas. There might be problems with like tokenizing your property somewhere, because then, what if you want to use it? There's a whole bunch of stuff that they got to figure out, but it's coming. There are people who might be experimenting, and some of them will actually work. So awesome. So we talked about the RFOX Vault, which you did, and then the RFOX NFTs. I want to talk about the relationship between these two, right? So you talked about a company that would have their own front-facing website. They'll be able to come Adidas, Nike, as you guys did, Miss Philippines that you guys did, which was a great success that I remember. So we'll approach it from two perspectives. Let's say I'm a creator, right? How would I be able to actually interact with the NFT white label platform and have this show up in the vault? I assume you guys are making these two communicate. Is there anything else I would have to do as a creator?
Yeah, so you've got like a marketplace contracts, and you've got your shop, and you've got what we've got is a shop owner's portal, which allows you to be able to effectively customize your store and change the colors and the configuration and everything within the store. But effectively, what you could do is spin up your collection using that same the same contracts that you would find on the RFOX NFTs.
Yep.
And then you'd be able to just load those into the display cases in your shop. So that becomes a marketplace contract in your shop contract. So effectively, anything that you've spun up on the RFOX NFTs, you can 100% connect
into the vault.
shops. Yeah, but you could also bring in NFTs that you've created externally and display those on the display cases as well. But the whole idea of what we're trying to do is make it so that every time someone purchases or sells something in the vault, there's a 2% transaction fee, and that transaction fee is then partially distributed back to VFOX holders. So we're trying to make sure that there is a continual flow back to the holders and the people that have that support us.
Yep.
So this is great because when other people come in, and there'll be other use cases, there'll be a whole creator economy in the vault as well. So we've focused, as you know, on retail and e-commerce, because that's a unique avenue to follow, considering most people are going on the social platform element so far, or gaming.
Yep.
To have a real strong focus on e-commerce and retail, we believe that's the way that it'll head. And the whole creator economy. So if people are coming in and creating hoverboards or cars or different assets for your shops, the whole idea of that is to make sure that they generate those NFTs. It can be on any of the chains. They'd be able to sell those on a marketplace, which would be usable within the vault, and then every one of those things would attract a 2% transaction fee, which would then come back to
VFOX.
Yeah, exactly. And if people that are sort of needing a handheld and they want design help and concept help, we're doing that for a lot of people. We would actually also charge a fee for that. For example, if we went into partnership with someone, it might be 10, 20, 30, 40%, depending on what we do.
Yeah.
And then we would, that would be revenue coming back in for RFOX, which would go straight back into building and expanding the metaverse and the ecosystem.
Awesome. Thanks for that. That's a good explanation. I wanted to do the other side of the coin. So we approached it from like the creator perspective, right? Which is me accessing the vaults, having my shop, using the smart contracts to display it. From the retail / collector perspective, let's say I'm a collector. There's a guy in Vietnam. He's about to display some art in his vault shop, right? And you talked about fees as well. Can you talk to us about the flow or the process of my purchase of this guy's NFT or this guy's artwork in the vault? How does it go from my fiat account or my RFOX ID account to his RFOX ID, and how does he cash out? How does he take profits? What friction are you guys actually eliminating there? And that would otherwise be in traditional finance.
Yeah, so basically, well, it's a good question, and it's two-faceted. I mean, ultimately, a lot of metaverses or platforms are saying you have to use our token, right?
Yep.
And that's a prerequisite. You must use the token of the ecosystem. What we've basically turned around and said is, we don't care what's in your pocket. We'll take whatever you've got.
Yeah.
And then what we'll do is we'll convert that
to RFOX.
So we'll take our percentage, our 2%, and convert that into RFOX. But we're going to have people that, to your point, will come in and say, I want to pay in Filipino peso. And the people at the other end might say, well, our shop accepts Great British pounds. So we need to make sure that there's that gateway there so that people can actually choose and accept the funds that they want to choose.
Yep.
And for us, and that's why we want to partner with payment gateways, and we're talking to a lot of those now and have been for some period of time. We don't care about the currency that the people use, but we also don't have any inclination to be a payment gateway provider.
Yeah.
We are very much of the opinion that we want to be a Redditor model, as they call it in the States. We want to take that clip of the ticket. We're effectively the exact same thing as Uber or Grab, in the sense that we're connecting the drivers to the passengers, so to speak.
Yep.
We're not actually employing those drivers, and we're not we're the introductory service, and we want to make sure that we're not a payment processor.
Yeah, I fully understand it when you say like you're trying to be the Uber or the Airbnb of businesses, where there's different multiple parties and they have individual needs. You're just connecting them, and then you get a small 2% fee that happens at the end. Awesome.
Yes. Yes.
I want to have a difficult question for you, Benny. Difficult question.
Sure.
I'm an artist. We talked about it in the previous question. I'm an artist now. Why should I actually use the RFOX white label platform? I know OpenSea, we talked about, has the liquidity, so you'll be listing it on RFOX, which also goes to OpenSea. But why shouldn't I just go to OpenSea and list my items there? I mean, I can have my own website, sure, but why specifically RFOX?
Yeah, because basically in the beginning, when you don't have the volume, so when you've got volumes coming in later and we move towards having our own marketplace, the equation becomes simple, because then it becomes about having a massive audience to tap into and all the rest of it. But in the initial part, it's more for the people that actually want that end-to-end experience. Now, we talked to a lot of projects, and we've seen a couple of them recently that have sort of gone through and said, OpenSea provides contracts and there's plenty of stuff that's out there that's white labeled. Then they've gone and tried to get it all audited, found bugs, tried to fix things. They've been on the receiving ends of seeing poor rollouts or delayed launches due to projects saying, we're supposed to launch at 3 o'clock, and then they say, sorry, we didn't realize how much metadata had to be uploaded and all the rest of it. That's the most common one, as we see all the time. And I think that what we tried to do is provide an end-to-end service that sort of got rid of and negated a lot of that type of stuff. So we tried to make it that you've got contracts that are audited, that have a lot of flexibility in their in the way you issue them, that you've created your own site, and you don't have to go through the rigmarole of picking up a white labeled piece of a tool, trying to work out how to implement and utilize that, and then try and work out how to configure. Right now, I've set up my site. How do I connect it? And as we've seen, a lot of people have issues in then setting up a site. They can't even properly integrate the MetaMask.
The MetaMask wallet, it's not a smooth experience.
No. So we said, let's just make it end to end. So technically speaking, the two reasons people would use us would be that end to end sort of much more grammar friendly and all the pieces in one spot. Second reason that they would use us is because of the fact that they could potentially get access to a grant to launch. So then as time goes on, we've got models coming in with our new economic model and a few other things that would entice people to sort of come in and develop and build with us until such time as those volumes and the numbers of users are adequate for them to be able to say, it's worth me launching on their platform based on the fact that there's a huge user base that I can tap into that's already established.
Right on. So you said two keywords there for me, Benny, sorry. So you said the keyword grant, and then you said another keyword, which is the economic report. I want to go on to the grants at the moment. So I know you guys do currently have a grant system in place. Can you give us a brief overview of the grant? Has anyone come to you for this grant? I don't know if anything's public yet, but can you give us a small preface, please?
Yeah, so there's a few projects that we're already helping, and then there's which will come to light very shortly. But there's also a number, around about 20, that have sort of applied recently to to actually launch their project, and we're getting more coming in on a regular basis, a few a week. And what we're doing is then we're about to go out and sort of do a voting system for that. So have a look at what our community wants, and the public want. Yeah. So what we do is we'd refine those. Obviously, brownie points go if you've got a doxed team, if you're looking at doing something that helps to contribute back towards the RFOX ecosystem. And we've got a few models that we're introducing now. So we've got people that are effectively saying that if they could leverage off some of the expertise that we've got, or the tools that we've got, that in return they'll provide some of their like secondary market
fees or anything,
and stuff like that back to VFOX holders, or provide extra whitelist spots, or give a percentage of their product to the COGS and RFOX holders. So there's different models that we can use, but ultimately at the moment, I think, and I've mentioned this a few times lately, weirdly enough, I think the whole space is moving towards a more free to launch model. The reason being is that there hasn't ever been enough onus on the utility factor for a lot of these NFTs.
Tell me about it, Benny. Like I can't buy an NFT now if I don't see a utility for it, especially in the bear market right now. I'm not buying anything until I can use it for something. No.
Yeah, so you imagine if someone comes along, because we've got a few that'll come through the ranks very soon, but you imagine if you were told that you could get a free NFT, that NFT actually is also subject to staking rewards, and part of a gaming ecosystem. So you can not only stake, you can also earn rewards for using that NFT in a game. So the thing is that's a free to enter. And if you look back to the artifact models, back when they did the meta pigeons for $1, you got another meta pigeon, then you got all of the vials and all the rest of it. And at one stage, it would have been very close to $1 million worth of value.
Jesus Christ.
And you look at treasure.lol, a lot of these projects are now saying, we'll give it away for free in the beginning. We back the fact that we've got a strong utility case, and the secondary market volume will be there. So there's a few interesting models that we're playing around with now from companies coming through that we're looking very forward to integrating and bringing in. And a lot of those companies will also be present in the vault as well, and launch an actual brand through the vault. And one of our primary focuses is to really make the RFOX Vault a brand launching platform.
Yeah, I have heard you say this a couple of times, where we'll see like Metaverse first, or like Vault first launches, where that's the first kind of product release, first offering to the public. So I'm excited to see what that would look like, actually. Awesome, Ben. You've answered most of my questions. I'm hoping we could just have a free flow talking back and forth. I know the second keyword that you mentioned there was the economic paper, or the economic report that RFOX is going to release. I know it's not out yet. I'm not asking for any alpha or anything, but can you tell us a bit about the economic report? What's the rationale? What's the decision? Why do we have to release this?
Okay, so what we're doing is it's a whole model for the ecosystem for RFOX. So what we want to do is make sure that there is inherent value going back to our early investors. So it introduces, and I can say that it introduces avatars, apartments, looks after shop owners. It brings in a deflationary COGS mechanic, and it also really also brings in a very much a flow, without giving away too much. It gives away, it brings in a very strong flow of funds back to VFOX holders continually on a non-stop basis. So this is something that's been well thought out. It's in pieces, as far as like there's multiple pieces and there's aspects. So there's a bit of game theory involved in which part you want to do and why. But ultimately, it is about a very small outlay for ongoing and inherent value that we're giving back to all of our the people that are participating in the ecosystem, and for people that have already participated, like the shop owners, and for the shop owners that are going to participate in the near future. This model would effectively, the intent or the hope is to make sure that these shop owners that have already purchased their shops will effectively, in these rewards through this model, recoup all of the money that they've spent on their shop so far, which will mean that the shops in the future have
self-paying
a much higher value.
Damn, man, that's actually a pretty good value proposition. That's what it sounds like. Good value for my for people's money. Thanks for that wrap up. I'm actually waiting to see this economic report because I want to see what value accrues to the VFOX holders, RFOX holders, and the actual shop owners. We can end it here, Benny, but I do have some really small tidbit questions I want to brush by you. So I want to talk about someone recently winning the trip to Africa for IAPF, and then maybe about 3D punks as well. So how's the IAPF going? Who won it?
Yeah, so they did a redraw. I don't even know if that's been announced yet. So they did a redraw, but basically the trip was for a trip to Zimbabwe. So it was you could actually have something in its place, but it was something very different, an opportunity for people to be able to explore somewhere that most people have never been to in their lives, or would probably not have on their top 5 list. But ultimately it's a pretty exotic destination, and I think it's just something a little bit different than just giving out tokens or new NFTs and something like that.
That's what I loved about it. I read it and I was like, oh, this is super different. I haven't seen any crypto project try and do this at the moment, or like it's not a overused metaverse thing, 2% to charity or a buyback and burn to charity. None of this sort of stuff. You actually get a trip. You can use it if you want. That was pretty cool.
I think in a down market as well, there's a lot of people sort of waiting for the market to rebound. So they're looking for staking options. They're looking for play to earn. They're
alternatives.
Looking for some sort of something to tide them over and subsidize until the market improves. But a lot of people don't actually extract value to spend on something that is an experience based thing. So you hear about people boasting that they've bought Lamborghinis and stuff like that. But ultimately, it's very rare for someone to take out profits that have been accrued, buy something for themselves or spend it on experiences. And the thing is that the crypto can provide the opportunity for great experiences for people. So ultimately, in a down market, if you can go out and say, here's something a little bit different, here's something that you can actually derive benefit from, and it's something that you won't forget, that you might not otherwise spend on yourself or buy for yourself, I think that's it's a good balancing type of reward that it should be more of. It should happen.
Yeah, to me, Benny, I pretty much value the experiences over the Lamborghini or the material cost that that Lambo is going to cost me a couple of million a year to repair and get the tires fixed and inspection. I'd rather go on a nice vacation with my girlfriend to Hawaii or something like that. Like a life experience. And like I hope that's what I'll be able to do sooner or later. Okay, Benny, so we've hit that 26-minute mark. I'm going to thank you very much. Do you have any last words before we finish this great interview? Thank you very much for your time. Any last words?
Yeah, just say thank you very much for everybody that supports us. I realize that it is a long journey. It's massive what we're building, but finally we're able to start showing people what it is that we've been working on all these years, and that's the exciting part. So we haven't really actually begun from a product perspective. So to have this stuff now rolling out and seeing what we've been talking about for all these years is pretty exciting, and it's the beginning of the journey. So really, really excited to get these products into users' hands, and hopefully, as you just said with the trip, we can provide lots more of experiential based rewards for people as well, and do a lot of different stuff to what the other projects do. So that's what we're looking forward to.
Yeah, I think I hear you say it all the time. All the pieces are just starting to fall into place now. You've been building all of these different venture arms, RFOX Games, RFOX Finance, the Vault. Now that you're heading it, everything should be slowly coming together. So I'm really excited for that time when it comes together. I'll be able to experience it. And hopefully I can stream on RFOX TV myself. Who knows? We'll see what happens.
Yeah, 100%. We can get that organized very quickly, actually. We're very close to having people like yourself be able to come in and then say, I'm in here, and let's beam this out to the public.
Yeah, let's create some content. Yeah.
100%.
All right, we'll wrap it up there. Benny, thank you very much for your time. Appreciate your work. Thank you very much. Ciao for now.
Thanks, mate.
Bye.
See you.